Hey everyone, ready to dive into the fascinating world of genetics? We're going to explore what it really takes to be a geneticist. Go way beyond like Punnett squares and all that basic stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got a ton of insights here from RoleCatcher's career guides.
Yeah, it's good.
So let's jump right into it. What does a geneticist actually do? Beyond the textbooks, I mean.
Well, think of it this way. It's like they're code breakers.
Code breakers.
Yeah, but instead of, like secret messages, they're trying to crack the code of our DNA. They look at how our genes actually work, how they interact with each other, and how they basically influence everything about us, how we look, our health, you name it.
It's crazy how much our genes really impact, right? So we're talking about like diagnosing inherited diseases, things like that.
Exactly, yeah. Geneticists are crucial for diagnosing and then like helping manage conditions that are passed down through families. Things like cystic fibrosis, for example.
Right.
But it goes even further than that, actually. Did you know that geneticists are at the forefront of this whole personalized medicine thing? It's like, imagine getting treatments that are specifically tailored to your own genetic makeup.
Wow.
It's like having a medical plan designed just for you based on your genes.
That's incredible. So it sounds like this career is about pushing the boundaries of science, but also like actually making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a field that's constantly changing, always new discoveries happening. Like, for example, gene therapy, where they can replace faulty genes with healthy ones. That's becoming a reality for some conditions. And geneticists are the ones who are leading the way in this whole, like, revolutionary approach to treating diseases.
Gene therapy, that's amazing. Gene therapy, that's amazing. It really does feel like we're like on the edge of a whole medical revolution, and geneticists are right there leading the way. But, with all this cutting edge science, I gotta ask, what skills do you actually need to thrive in this field? Like, what does it take to be a successful geneticist?
Well, you can almost think of it like building this high-tech toolkit.
Okay.
First things first, your reading comprehension and scientific writing, those skills have got to be top-notch.
Makes sense.
Because geneticists, they're always reading new research, right? Deciphering complicated data. And then they have to turn around and explain all those findings clearly to other people.
So it's not even just like understanding the science itself. It's being able to share it with the world.
Exactly. Like you might be explaining some complex genetic condition to a patient. Or you could be writing a grant proposal, to get funding for your research or presenting your findings at a conference.
Right.
Clear communication is key.
Totally.
Now, when it comes to the actual like scientific tools themselves, biology is the foundation, obviously.
Of course.
But you'll also want to, dive deep into genetics, molecular biology, biochemistry.
Yeah, it's all about understanding the building blocks of life, right?
Right. And this is where it gets even more interesting, actually. Mathematics, statistics, even computer science. These are all becoming essential for geneticists these days.
Computer science? That's not something you typically like associate with genetics.
It's all about the data.
Yeah.
Think about like genomic sequencing.
Oh, right.
That's that technology that lets us map out a person's entire genetic makeup.
Right.
But it generates a massive amount of data. Like we're talking billions of data points.
Wow.
So to make sense of all that information, you need sophisticated computer programs and statistical methods.
So it's not just about like microscopes and lab coats anymore. It's like you're a data scientist, but with a genetic specialty.
That's a great way to put it. The field is definitely becoming more interdisciplinary, which I think makes it even more exciting,
I bet. So it sounds like you really need that strong foundation in the life sciences, but also these computational skills too. So for someone who's like completely hooked on this field, what's the typical educational path they'd want to consider?
So a bachelor's degree in genetics or something related, that's the starting point. That'll give you that foundational knowledge in, biology, genetics, all those essential subjects. And then from there, a lot of aspiring geneticists, they go on to get advanced degrees, like a master's or a PhD, especially if they're interested in like leading research or working in academia.
So you got to get that solid education for sure. You've got your bachelor's, maybe a master's or PhD. You're ready to launch that career. What does the path like from newbie geneticist to a seasoned expert actually look like? It does sound like quite a journey. So you're starting out, you're fresh out of university, ready to make your mark on the world. What are those like early career stages actually like for a geneticist?
Well, you'd probably start as like an assistant researcher.
Okay.
Working alongside more experienced geneticists, probably in a lab setting.
Mm.
It's all about getting that like hands-on experience. You'll be
Oh,
doing experiments, analyzing data, maybe even get to help out with, groundbreaking research.
wow.
It's kind of like an apprenticeship,
Yeah.
You're really learning the craft for the pros.
So you're right there in the thick of it, soaking it all up.
Exactly. And then as you start to progress, you might take on more responsibility. Like you might lead your own small-scale projects or maybe present your findings at a conference.
Oh, cool.
You might even get published in those scientific journals.
Wow.
That's usually kind of like that junior geneticist phase.
So you're starting to like make a name for yourself at that point. What comes after that?
Well, with enough dedication, hard work, you could climb that ladder to become, a senior geneticist.
Okay.
At that level, you're not just conducting research, you're also mentoring, the next generation of scientists coming up.
Oh, wow.
You might be responsible for, like, securing funding for these big research projects. You can even become one of the leading voices in your specific, like, niche area of genetics.
Wow. So you go from like analyzing data to shaping the entire field. That's incredible. But I imagine it's pretty competitive out there. What advice would you give to aspiring geneticists to, really stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, it's definitely competitive,
Yeah.
but it's also a field that's constantly growing.
Right.
So I think first and foremost, never stop learning.
Okay.
Genetics is constantly evolving. There's always new discoveries. So staying up to date on all the latest research and the latest tech, it's crucial.
It's like having a front row seat to like some of the most exciting scientific discoveries happening right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate networking either. Going to conferences, joining those professional organizations, just connecting with other researchers in the field.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all super valuable ways to learn from others, share your own work. You might even end up collaborating on some groundbreaking project.
So be curious, be engaged, be ready to like collaborate with anyone and everyone.
Exactly.
That's fantastic advice. This has been such an insightful deep dive. Any like final thoughts for our listeners who might be thinking about a career in this field?
Well, genetics, it's a challenging field. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
But it's also incredibly rewarding. You're unraveling the mysteries of life itself, pushing the boundaries of what we know about science. And your work could have a real, tangible impact on human health. I mean, what's more inspiring than that?
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're passionate about genetics, my advice is simple. Dive in. Embrace the challenge. And never, ever stop questioning, exploring, pushing the boundaries of what we know.
I love that. Such an inspiring note to end on. It really sounds like a career path that's just full of discovery, innovation, and the potential to like really make a difference in the world. So to all our listeners out there, we hope this deep dive has given you a glimpse into the amazing world of genetics and, maybe even inspired you to join in on the action. That's it for us this time. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those questions coming.